Our last speaker this morning is Sue Drinnan, a certified executive coach and leadership development specialist supporting successful senior leaders and teams to work effectively together. She uses her experience as a national executive, her master's of neuroscience and training in conflict resolution and emotional intelligence to strengthen focus, purpose, and engagement. Areas of specialty include organizational effectiveness, adult ADD, abrasive leaders, I'd love to know about that one, and strengthening resilience, which is what we are doing here today. Sue, come on.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for the introduction. So today I'm going to talk about 3 tools to move us forward through change. So I'm going to ask you to think about a time where you had no idea how to solve something. Life threw you a curveball, and it worked out great. You figured it out. Who can think of a time? Hands up. Yeah. And so it's I'm going to get you to hit rewind and then pause to just as you found out the bad news. So now think back, really like bad news, and you didn't come to you, how it was you were going to figure it out. So think about how it felt in your stomach or in your heart. Often we go through a cycle of feelings, and they're pretty well classic. Who's heard of Kubler-Ross? Yeah, great. Okay, so the first, I call it DABDA, which stands for denial and shock. So the first piece is, what? No, not today. Oh, please, can't believe this. And the battery's dead on your car, so you're off to work, and so handling that bad news. So often we start with the denial and shock, and then anger. So don't be doing this. And what do? You turn and you keep trying. You ever had that? And maybe you try even harder. So that's that anger. So this is where the threat lives. Oh my gosh, this is real. And we get what's called scared stupid. That's the trigger, fright, and flight pattern that we've all heard of. And then we go into bargaining. So we might ask the car, oh please, just start this once. I've got a really important meeting. I've got to get downtown. I promise I'll do a better job of maintaining the car next time. I'll replace the battery. Please, just get me to work. And then it doesn't work. And so then the next phase of DABDA is the D, so depression. Okay, this is bad. I'm missing my meeting. I never learn, or whatever negative script that we sometimes pick up from our past. And that's a key point, because that's where we separate reality from opinion. And so reality, or our interpretation of it. So if it's another example, if it's going to rain on a big event you're putting on, you can either tear your hair out and go, oh my gosh, it's raining, oh my gosh, it's raining, and focus on the fact that it's raining, or just accept that it's raining and move forward to answering the real problem, which has a solution. Well, do we rent a marquee tent, or so on? So to actually move to action instead of fretting. And the next piece is the A of DABDA, which is acceptance. Okay, I'm not fired yet. What are my options? What can I do? Ask my neighbor, call a cab, those kinds of things. So that's the first tool, is to become aware of this cycle. You might not go through in that order, but that's a classic. So a second tool is actually becoming aware of the emotions, because your IQ points, as a neuroscientist, your IQ drops at least 16 points once we've engaged the fight or flight part of your brain. Who's heard of the amygdala? Emotional intelligence, okay, a few hands there. And so that's a cortisol spike. So when you get scared, you actually are less able to hear differing opinions. You physically lose your ability to see peripherally, and your reactions go up, but you become more reactive, and so on. So there is a deterioration in your cognitive abilities. So becoming aware of the intensity of your concern. All these things can be can you hear me? Yeah. Can be our derivatives of fear, right? They'll feed into that. And we don't actually fear change, but what it means. We're not scared of the car not starting, right? And as Wayne was saying, it's a decision we make that this is dangerous. And your adrenals, which produce adrenaline, don't have eyes. They don't know if you're just about to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or about to slide into a cliff or something. All they know is, this is dangerous. And so the blood gets shunted to your muscles and away from the thinking parts of your brain. And sometimes we bite in the workplace, or we shut down, or we become a deer in the headlights. Those kinds of things are very real and measurable physiologically. So again, what it means to us. Who has heard of WIFM? What's in it for me, right? There's the positive, but also the negative. And so something could happen that, yeah, anyways. So, the key that helps us to not get triggered or recapture our cool, calm, thinking, logical brain, to re-engage it, because it gets hijacked by that scared part of our brain, is we have to believe that we'll be okay. We have to become safe, and then we can think clearly and long-term and be open to new, creative, resourceful options. And so trusting that I can handle, I don't know how to do this, but whatever situation comes up, we can do this, right? We've come through so many difficult times. So to develop your resilience, I've come up with an acronym called NAC, which is recapturing our ability to think, starting with an awareness. So understanding human nature, to become aware of, this is not good for me, I'm feeling triggered, to be able to separate yourself and not just climb into the ring and fight the pickle that you're in. And then, so that's K of NAC, the word K-N-A-C-K. The second one is to not react. That's the counting to 10. That's allowing the cortisol to diffuse, and to not bite, and become more long-term thinking. So remember, lift your sights from what's immediately, and then think, okay, what does this need to look like by tonight, or next week, or in 3 years down the pipe, or in this case, 10 years, 50 years down the pipeline, for this community especially. So becoming action-oriented. So sometimes that's pausing. That's an action, actually, to not pull the trigger, but actually to reflect. What questions do we need to be asking ourselves here? Who else needs to be at the table to help us grow into what we can be and contribute what we can? And then the K-N-A-C-K, the C, is for courageous. So actually facing those frightening, awful, scary questions. Looking at reality in the face, so facing it. That takes courage. And sometimes the facing means facing yourself. That I'm scared out of my wits about this. I have no idea how to handle this. Or a loved one. And so bringing up I call it caring enough to confront. And then the last letter is kindness. So if you've done a blooper and you really did mess up, being kind to yourself is where kindness for others comes from, right? You can't give what you don't first have for yourself. If you beat yourself up, if you're a strong perfectionist, it'll be hard to others will pick that up, basically. So thinking, so that's the next tool. And then the last one is, what is it that actually is threatened, that is the trigger? And that's the third word is SCARF. And that stands for the things that are threatened, that could be my status, could be my need for certainty, could be these are actually human needs, not just like an individual's, but every human has a certain need for status, a certain need for certainty, a certain need for autonomy. SCAR stands for relatedness, so connection and belonging, and F for fairness. We all need to see justice and feel that we're in a fair world. So I'm going to ask you I'm going to make a request, actually, to think about how you, as a contributor to this community, is impacting others. What would it be like to be around you? Are you bringing your best? So think of a quality that you already have that maybe you could bring more of to help this community. It doesn't cost $1. It's free. This is about, how am I interfacing with others? And what can I do in terms of what I bring to help build and thrive, help this community to grow. And so Norma was talking about the tension in her play. Well, this is one where in order to send a bow, you have to draw the bow back, and that requires strength. So sometimes thinking about how I can move forward might require that courage, to both as individuals, which make up the courageous community. So I invite you to please choose a stretch goal about how you're being and how you can tap into this virtue or resilience piece that you have in you. And what needs to be in place is a decision, as Wayne was referring to. So nothing happens until we make a decision to own this change, and to show up differently. So if you look at the past, you guys have been, as I said, through so much, both as individuals in your own lives, but also as a community, so many changes that would have been frightening because they wouldn't have known what it was going to look like or who was going to even show up. And look, what a beautiful, thriving, caring, intelligent community this is. It's amazing. I'm a newbie, as you know, and it's a very inspiring group. So that decision to move forward is where it all starts. And then to know with that confidence, we can handle this, we can grow this, and you've got such competence that it'll be so awesome. So wonderful to get to know you, and I'm very, very much looking forward to what things are going to look like in the future. So celebrate your beautiful community. Thank you.